Dayanand Allapur. He's a global head of human resources, Cognizant Digital Operations. As you see from the video, he's on the edge of his home garden. So I hope he doesn't get distracted with his plants in the background. Daya will speak for 5 minutes, again, broadly covering the same topic, but I have requested him to focus a little bit more on managing employee productivity with a focus on social and emotional issues. Over to you, Daya, for your 5 minutes.
Okay. Thank you, Anand, and thank you, Ninad. And hello, everybody. Good to see you here, or good on this panel, and all the participants as well. Thanks for sparing your time on a Saturday to listen to all of us. I know this is a vexing issue for pretty much everybody, whether it is a vegetable vendor on the street or a corporate multi-billion-dollar company. Everybody is facing the same issue. We're all quarantined. We talked about BCP plans all our lives. Everybody did some BCP plan or the other, whether it's a Chennai floods or some earthquake or some riots. But whoever imagined that this is the kind of BCP that the whole world has to go through? Most of the humanity is now indoors, stuck. Some are protesting, some are falling sick, some are dying. And companies at the same time are struggling to figure out how to stay alive, stay in business, and find alternate ways of doing it. This entire virus situation has shown us what is the priority for us, for our personal well-being, our health, at the same time, what matters most. And suddenly the clients are looking at, hey, so many people are working from home across so many countries. In India, nobody ever thought that working from home would really succeed. You have seen the reports in the newspaper, how many CEOs of big companies have said, productivity has actually gone up. We thought 8 or 10 hours that we may work at home. It's becoming maybe sometimes 13 or 14 hours now. It is stretching. People are on calls for endless hours, continuous videos, telephones, and fatigue. This all in a very constrained environment while being at home. I think it's extremely important for us to get a right perspective on this entire thing. What's happening? What's happening to our leaders? What's happening to our colleagues, associates? Where do they live? How do they work? The families were used to seeing their spouses, parents, or sons going to work. Today, suddenly they're spending endless hours on the phone, sitting in front of the video and talking to people. They don't have privacy. Neither do they have a good ergonomics, a good seating or chairs. We are all notorious for unregulated power cuts. We have very varying temperatures across India. Some parts it is extremely cold, some it is very hot and humid. People not all can afford ACs. They sit in rooms where it's crowded space. They're on calls constantly telling people move away. And I can see this happening on a daily basis. I mean, I should tell you a couple of instances. One of our colleagues who had a pet dog, every now and then it would pop up and come. It was finding it kind of embarrassing for the person to, go through this. And every now and then she was hushing and said, hey, it's okay. I mean, now, if you're at work, this won't happen. Now, because you're at home, you have invaded the privacy of maybe your pet or your colleagues or your parents or your children. Suddenly, an elderly person coming in and walking in saying, how long are you on the phone? Sometimes you get up and come. And again, another moment. I think people need to understand that this whole workplace and family space is getting completely blurred now. People are finding it very difficult to figure out where to draw the line. And at the same time, we have this workplace. What is that workplace? How do we define? And our workforce, who is our workforce? And what kind of work can we do from home? What cannot be done from home? What do we expect from people while they are on these calls? Can we define certain, do's and don'ts, not for just the employees or associates, even for the leaders? This is the true moment where our expectations and behaviors of leadership has to be incongruent with this new reality. If we are not congruent with what's happening around, then we will end up creating a new tension, new stress among our colleagues. People will find it very difficult to know how to cope with this new situation. It's that we have to, as a company and as employers, have to start realizing we are invading into the family space. Now, how do we enable and how do we ensure that family members recognize this new reality as well? Do they realize what this means, what that workplace is? Where people are sitting at home on speaker phones or videos, and what's our tone when we are conversing with people? Are we respectful? Are we mindful? Are we listening to them carefully? Are we appreciating the difficulties and challenges that they're having? If we do not, we are creating a kind of a situation where people will find it difficult to, cope with this new reality. There are also a few things that we need to look at, from the perspective of facilities and things that we can provide. A lot of events we do in the offices, right? We do birthday parties, celebrations, we do promotion celebrations. Many events are done in the organizations. How do we ensure that the same thing gets replicated at home now? Simple things, but can we do it? Can we celebrate? Can we now that work has gone to home, can we loan the family members and say, hey, look, here is today this promotion, here is today this birthday. Engage the family in doing that, maybe a surprise party. Let the family feel, okay, you're at home. This is how your family cares. This is how they do. This is how they, appreciate you. Recognize them, reward them, maybe send a bunch of flowers home, maybe send a cake for some important events. I think that blurred space of family versus work, how we can make it almost seamless without intruding on privacy, but at the same time repeating some of the best practices we did at work. I think that will be very important. Maybe involving families, doing these yoga sessions, health sessions, meditation. We may think, oh, people are at home now, they may not need a healthcare facility. Who knows, if there are two working couples sitting with no other help or no other extended family support, how can they take care of two children? Now, we don't know how long the schools will be open. 6 months? They'll be closed for another 6 months or 1 year, or homeschooling may become another norm. Then how do we do it? Do we still have to give daycare facility for people while they're staying at home? The kids go to daycare. I mean, all kinds of scenarios are possible. Plenty is happening. There's a lot of food for thought for corporates to rethink whether to give membership to various things. Plenty is happening there. So I'll stop at that point. Sure. We need to be just mindful, thoughtful, ensure that we demonstrate our true leadership in this time. And over to you, Ninad.
Thank you, Dayal. Thank you for summarizing, saying we need to be mindful and thoughtful. I think that's great. It's a great message for all the participants.